my friends, hello my friends, hello my friends. This is Mothy ASMR, and today, since I haven't been able to fix my VR headset, I will be reading Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. We will be continuing from chapter 21, or I guess part 21. And last we seen of the story, the knight Gawain cut off the head of the Green Knight, the little intruder who wanted to play a game. And in this act of brazenness in front of the hall and the king and the queen, the Green Knight stood back up with his decapitated head and essentially laughed him out of the room, or laughed himself out of the room, and left and warned Gawain that he has another year until this day until it's Gawain's turn to be struck down. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Though Arthur in his heart might marvel much, I ween, no semblance in his speech of fear or dread was seen. Unto the queen he quoth, in courteous wise and gay, Dear lady, at this tide let not your heart dismay. Such craft doth well, methinks, to Christmas time belong, when jests be soothly sought with laugh and merry song, and when in carols gay our knights and ladies vie. Natheless unto my meat, I'll get mine presently. I may not soon forget the sight mine eyes have seen. He turned him to Gawain and quoth with gladsome mien, Now, sir, hang up thine axe. The blow was soundly sped. 'Twas hung above the dice on docile overhead, that all within the hall might look upon it well, and by that token true the tale of wonder tell. Then to the royal board they sat them down, those twain, the king and the good knight, and the men for service vain. As to the noblest there with double portion wend, with meat and minstrelsy the Yuletide feast they spend. With joy they pass the day till shades of night descend over land. Now think thee well, Gawain, and fail not to withstand the venture thou wast fain to take unto thine hand. We have reached Book 2. I wish I had known that sooner, because it would have been a little bit nice and neater to end the previous video on Book 2, but I didn't know that was there. Whoops. So this is Book 2. Now this first venture fair befell in the new year to Arthur, who such feasts was ever fain to hear. Although his words were few, when as at meat they met, but now to task full stern their hand methinks beset. Right gladly did Gawain begin these games in hall. If heavy be the end, small wonder were withal. A man hath merry mind when he hath drunk amain. Speedy the year hath sped and cometh not again. Beginnings to their end do all unlike appear. The Yuletide passed away, and eke thereafter year, each season severally after the other sent. When Christmas tide was past, then came the crabbed Lent, that changing flesh for fish doth simpler food provide. The weather of the world with winter then doth chide. The cold no longer clings, the clouds themselves uplift, shed swift the rain and warm the showers of springtide drift. Fall fair upon the field the flowers all enfold, the grass and even the groves all green ye may behold. The birds began to build and greet with joyful song, solace of summer sweet that followeth ere long on bank. The blossoms fair they blow, in hedgerow rich and rank, the birds sing loud and low, in woodland deep and dank. After the summer tide with gentle winds and soft, when zephyr on the sward and seeds doth breathe full oft, full gladsome is the growth waxing therefrom I ween, when as the dewdrops drip off the leaves so green, beneath the blissful beams of bright summer sun, the ninth harvest tide hardening the grain anon. With warnings to wax ripe ere come the winter cold, with drought he drives the dust before him on the wold. From off the field it flies in clouds, it riseth high, Winds of the welkin strive with sun wrathfully. The leaves fall from the bough and lie upon the ground, and grey is now the grass that erst all green was found. Ripens and rots the fruit that once was flower gay, and thus the year doth turn to many a yesterday. Winter be come again, as needeth not to say the sage. Then, when St. Michael's moon be come with winter's gauge, Gawain bethinks him soon of his dreaded venture's wage. Yet till All Hallows Day with Arthur did he bide, then for his sake the king a fair feast did provide. Rich was the revel there of the good Table Round, they were both courteous knights and comely ladies found, and many sorrowed sore, all for that good knight's sake. Yet none the less no sign of aught but mirth they make. Though joyless, all the jests they bandy at the same. With morning after meat, he to his uncle came, and of his journey spake, and openly did say, Now, liege lord of my life, your leave I fain would pray. Ye know how stands the case, thereof no more I'll speak, since talk, it mendeth naught, 'twere trifling ease to seek. I to the blow am bound, tomorrow must I fare, to seek the knight in green, God knoweth how or where. The best knights in the burg together then they ran, Gawain and Eric there, with many another man. Dodinel, Les Sauvages, the Duke of Clarence came, Lancelot, Lionel, and Lucaine at that same. Sir Bors, Sir Bedivere, the twain were men of might, with Medore de la Porte, and many another knight. Courtiers in company nigh to the king they drew, for counselling that night much care at heart they knew. In dole so drear their tears in hall together blend, to think that good Gawain must on such an errand wend. Such doleful dint endure, no more fair blows suspend, and free. The knight he made good cheer, he quoth, What boots it me? For though his weird be drear, each man that same must stree. He dwelt there all day, at early dawn besought the men would bring his arms, and all were straightway brought. At carpet on the floor they stretched full fair and tight. Rich was the golden gear, on it glittered bright. The brave men stepped thereon, the steel he handled fair. A doublade of dear tars did upon him there, a cunning capados that fitted close and well, a fairly lined throughout, as I have heard it tell. All fairly lined throughout, as I have heard it tell. They set the shoes of steel upon the hero's feet, and wrapped the legs in greaves of steel as fit and meet. The caps that longed thereto polished, they were full clean, and knit about the knee with knots of golden sheen. Comely the cuisses that were closed him all about, with thongs all tightly tied around his thighs so stout. And then a byrnie bright with burnished steel they bring, upon a stuff so fair woven with many a ring. And now upon each arm they set the burnished brace, with elbow plates so good the metal gloves they lace. Thus all the goodly gear to shield him was in place. That tide, rich surcoat doth he wear, and golden spurs of pride. His sword is grit full fair, with silk upon his side. When he was fitly armed, his harnesses rich they deem, nor loop nor latchet small, but was with gold agleam. Then, harnessed as he was, his mass he heart straightway, on the high altar there an offering meet did lay. Then, coming to the king, and to the knights at court, from lords and ladies fair light his leave besought. They kissed the knight, his soul commending to Christ's care. Ready was Gringolet, girt with a saddle fair. Gaily it gleamed that day, with fringes all of gold, for his adventure high, and new nails it bare for old. The bridle barred about, with gold adorned well, the harness of the neck, the skirts that proudly fell, crupper and coverture matched with the saddle bow. On all the red gold nails were richly set a row. They glittered and they gleamed, even as the sun, I wis. The knight he takes his helm and greets it with a kiss. 'Twas hooped about with steel, and all full fitly lined. He set it on his head, and hasped it close behind. over the visor low, a kerchief lithe light, broidered about and bound with goodly gems and bright. On a broad silken braid there many a bird is seen, the painted paroquet upwreath there between. Turtles and true love knots so thick entwined there, as maids 7 winters long had wrought with labor fair in town. Full dear the circlet's price that lay around the crown of diamonds, its device that were both bright and brown. The shield they shewed him then, of flaming gules so red, there the pentacle shines, in pure gold burnished, on baldric bound the shield he to his neck makes tight. Full well I ween that sight became the comely knight, and why unto that prince the badge doth well pertain. Tarry thereby my tale, I yet to tell am fain. For Solomon as signs erst the pentacle set, in tokening of truth it bears that title yet. For 'tis in figure formed of full 5 points I ween, each line in other laced, no ending there is seen. Each doth the other lock in English land I wot, it beareth everywhere the name of endless knot. Therefore as fitting badge the knight this sign doth wear, for faithful he in fivefold the gifts he bare. Sir Gawain good was he, pure as refined gold, void of all villainy virtue did him enfold, and grace. So the pentacle new hath on his shield a place, as knight of heart most true, fairest of form and face. First was he faultless found in his 5 wits, I ween, nor failed his fingers 5 wherever he had yet been, and all his earthly trust upon those 5 wounds lay, that Christ won on the cross, even as the creed doth say. And wheresoever fate to fiercest fight did bring, truly in thought he deemed above all other thing, that all his force forsooth from those 5 joys he drew, which through her holy child the Queen of Heaven knew. And for this cause the knight courteous and comely bare on one half of his shield her image painted fair, that when he looked thereon his courage might not fail. The 5th 5 that I find did much this knight avail were frankness, fellowship, all other gifts above, cleanness and courtesy that ever did him move, and pity passing all I trow in this fair 5 that knight was clothed and happed over all that be alive. And all these gifts 5-fold upon that knight were bound, each in the other linked that none an end had found, fast fixed upon the 5 points I trow, that failed him never, nor joined at any side, nor sundered anywhere, nor was there any point so cunningly they blend, where they beginning make or where they find an end. Therefore upon his shield fair shapen doth that same sign, in fair red gold gleam, upon red gules aflame, which the pentacle pure the folk do truly name with lore. Armed Sir Gawain gay, his lance aloft he bore, and wished them all good day, he deemed for evermore. Spurs to his steed he set and sprang upon his way, so that from out the stones the sparks they flew away. Seeing that seemly sight the hearts of all did sink, each soothly said to each that which they secret think, grieved for that comely knight, by Christ, 'twere pity great if yon good knight be lost, who is of fair estate, his peer on field to find, in faith it were not light. 'Twere better to have wrought by wile, methinks, than might. Such doughty knight with duke were worthier than have been, a leader upon land gladly we such had seen. Such lot were better far than he were brought to naught, who'n by an elfish man for gauge of prideful thought. Did ever any king obey such strange behest, as risk a goodly knight upon a Christmas jest? Much water warm I ween welled from the eyes of all, when as that gallant knight gat him from Arthur's hall. That day, nor here would he abide, but swiftly went his way, by toilsome paths did ride, even as the book doth say. Now rides Gawain the good throw Logris realm I trow. Forth doth he fare upon quest that seemleth ill enow. Often companionless at night, alone must lie. The fare he liketh best he lacketh verily. No fellow save his foal hath he by wood or wold. With none gave God alone that night may converse hold. Till that unto North Wales full nigh he needs must draw. The Isles of Anglesey on his left hand he saw, and fared across the ford and foreland at that same, overgainst Holyhead, so that he further came. To Rural's wiles methinks nor long therein abode, since few within that land they love of man or God. Since few within that land they love or man or God. And ever as he feared he asked the folk, I ween, if they had heard men tell tale of a knight in green, in all that land about, or of a chapel green? And all men answered, nay, not of that knight they knew, and none had seen with sight a man who bare such a hue as green. The knight took roads full strange, and rugged paths between, his mood full oft the change, ere he his goal had seen. Okay, so we are on part 10 of chapter 2. That is where I will write in the thumbnail. I guess I'll write chapter 2, start of chapter 2 through 10 in this case. I'm sorry if the, well, in all honesty, I'm sorry that I haven't been able to put out any VR content. Like I said in the beginning of the video, my headset is having a lot of trouble connecting to the Quest link. I'm pretty sure it might be bricked. My PC cannot seem to talk to the headset, and I'll give my computer an update and see if that fixes anything. I'll see if the graphics cards need any updates, anything like that. But truthfully, I think I might be a little bit screwed in this case. I'm gonna have to install an emulator so I can emulate Steam VR through a different way that isn't Oculus's way. I have to use ALVR, is what my boyfriend told me, is to install ALVR. So I'll give that a shot because I really want to get back into the VR side of this. I want to do VR again. I kind of miss it. So yeah, in the meantime, since it's my day off, after I'm done recording this video, I'll try to troubleshoot a little bit. I'll try to troubleshoot a little bit. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my reading, and I hope you have a good night. Have a good night, my friend. Have a good night. Have a good night. Have a good night.